Morning. Let's start the daily current affair discussion. First topic that we will take up today regarding the educational scheme for minorities. Okay. This is about the educational schemes for the minority. There is shift in center's policy towards minority education in the past few years. It has discontinued two key educational schemes for the religious minority, gradually cut down on the expenditure incurred on the programs of the minority Ministry of Minority Affairs. Okay, but it has discontinued two key educational schemes for the religious minority and gradually cut down on the expenditure incurred on the program of the Ministry of Minority Affairs. So this is you can say the government of India over the years is reducing budgetary allocation for the minority, which is a great cause of concern. India is home to over 30 crore, that means 20% people from religious minority communities. It includes 6 religious notified under Section 2 of the National Commission for Minority Act 1992. Muslim constitute okay. So religious minority India is home to 30 crore 26% people from religious minority. It includes 6 religious notified religions notified under Section 2 of the National Commission for Minority Act 1992. Muslims constitute 14.2%, followed by Christians at 2.3%, the Sikh at 1.7%, Buddhist 0.7%, Jaina 0.4%, and the Zoroastrians around 37,000 in India. Constitutional provision. Article 29(1) of the Indian Constitution calls for the protection of the interest of minorities. Any section of the citizen residing in the territory of India or any part thereof having a distinct language, script or culture of its own shall have the right to conserve the same. Article 31 grants Article 1 grants right of minority establish and administer educational institutions. All minority, whether based on religions or language, shall have shall have the right to establish and administer educational institutions of their choice. This is mentioned in Article 31. Article 30, Section 1. 5-year scholarship for religious minority introduced. Some minority face challenges in economic, health and education. Their participation in a salaried job is low. Many are engaged in the informal sector characterized by low wages, weak social security and poor working conditions. The Rajendra Satchar committee appointed by the government concluded that the minorities was deprived and neglected almost all dimensions of development and behind the mainstream in several social and economic sectors. By and large, Muslim rank somewhat above SC/ST but below the Hindu OBC, other backward classes. Other minority and Hindu general, most upper classes in almost all indicators consider the report stated. So this means they has told very low about the Muslim minority in the country. The Muslims are, the conditions of the Muslim minority very deplorable in the country as per the findings of the Justice Gender Sanchar Committee report. At the same time, the new ministry was carved out of the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment in January 2006 to ensure a more focused okay. So more focused approach towards affecting the notified minority. Subsequently, the government revised its 15-point program for the welfare of minorities as part of educational empowerment. The new plan includes a provision for scholarship for students. So, subsequently, the government revised its 15-point program for welfare of the minorities as part of educational empowerment. The new plan included a provision for scholarship for students from minority communities. The highest proportion of out-of-school children in the country belong to Muslim minorities, 4.43%, followed by the Hindus, 2.73%, Christians, 1.52%. Okay. Hindu 2.73% and Christian 1.50%, others 1.26% according to the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan data released by the Government of India. Welfare scheme for the educational empowerment of the minorities, pre-matric scholarship. So pre-matric scholarship scheme to minority students from class 1 to 10. Okay. Class 1 to 10 with the pre-matric scholarship. Okay. Range between 1000 to 10,700 for each selected candidate. 30% of the scholarship were earmarked for girls. Current status, the scheme has been discontinued from class 1 to 8, only covering class 9 and 10 in its revised form. Post-matric scholarship scheme, students of class 11 and till PhD, the scholarship ranging between 200 to 2,300 to 15,000. Like the post-matric, pre-matric 30% of the post-matric scheme are also earmarked for the girl student. Okay, because government want to give special focus to the girl student. Merit-com means best scholarship scheme launched in 2008, scheme targeted professional course at undergraduate and postgraduate levels. 30% earmarked for girl students. Eligible candidate are reimbursed full course fee. The Maulana Azad National Fellowship, the scheme provided financial assistance for 5 years to research scholars pursuing MPhil and PhD. For Pradesh, the scheme also launched to provide better opportunity for higher education abroad, providing an interest subsidy on education loans. On educational loans. Okay, so for this, the scheme allows to provide better opportunity for the higher education abroad, providing interest subsidy on education loans for overseas studies, students belonging to the economically weaker section of the minority communities. Begum Hazrat Mahal National Scholarship. Scholarship was for meritorious girls for higher education, secondary education, and was provided by the Maulana Azad Education Foundation. The Naya Savera to provide free coaching to minority students of class 11-12 with science subjects for entrance to technical and professional course and competitive examinations. Okay, this is the Naya Savera scheme. The Nai Udan scheme is a program which supported minority students preparing for preliminary examinations conducted by the UPSC and Staff Selection Commission and the State Public Service Commissions. That is on the Nai Udan scheme for providing education to madrasa and the minorities. Under this recognized madrasa receive financial assistance to use modern subjects such as science, mathematics, social studies, Hindi, English and in their curriculum. Pradhan Jan Vikas Karyakram, since it is structuring, okay, in 2018, the Pradhan Mantri Jan Vikas Karyakram, earlier known as the Multi-Sectoral Development Program, has provided infrastructure in identified minority concentration areas, including for education and skill development. How has the budget reduced? And how has it impacted beneficiaries? This financial year, the center slashed the budgetary allocation for the minority Ministry of Minority Affairs by 38.3%. It dropped from 5,000 to 2.5 crore in 2023 to 3,097 crore this year. Notably, in 2023, estimates were revised to 2,612.66 crore, indicating an underutilization of nearly 48% of the funds. So underutilization promoted the government to stop funding the or providing more funds for the minority in the country because underutilization. Okay. So when there is How much had the budget reduced and how much? Notably, in 2023, estimates are revised to 1,606 crore, getting a 48% underutilization. The fund was underutilized, so the government decided to reduce the allocation for this year. The shift in policy came despite a significant drop in beneficiary 7% between 2019 and 2022. Even as funds remain underutilized. During the period, the government spending on six education schemes for religious minority dropped by around 12.5%. For instance, the pre-matric scholarship, which has benefited the maximum number of minority students, the ministry spent rupees 43.99 crore out of the revised estimate of 556 crore. Clearly, the 29 crore was the actual expenditure on post-matric scholarship. The budget estimate was 515 crore. Okay, so hardly 29 crore was actually spent out of the 515 crore allocated. Similarly, only 43.59 crore is the revised estimate. Okay, and when the allocation was 500. Fine. 2020 report by the Center for Budget and Governance Accountability highlighted a declining trend in the share of the overall budget expenditure towards minorities. The allocation of funds for the year 2023 was not in line with proportional representation of minorities. In fact, the restructuring of programs, underutilization of funds, and reduced budgetary allocation impacted the implementation of Pranam. Sir. Okay. As a result, gap in education and economic parameters are expected to widen. There are other challenges in implementation as well, including poor coverage of beneficiaries and low unit cost. Fine. So, because allocation has been reduced, definitely, so the implications will be on the implementation part, definitely. Expert worry that scrapping scholarship and limiting the scope of scholarship will adversely affect the community and impact their enrollment rate, which is already worrisome for the people who are working for the minorities. Way forward, education is the most powerful tool. Education is the most powerful tool for the social economic development of a nation, more so for the minorities. In 2018 policy document, NITI suggested enhancing pre-matric and post-matric and merit-cum means scholarship as well as Maulana Azad National Fellowship and National Overseas Scholarship, recommending a 15% annual increase from 2019-20 level. It also recommended increasing the number of scholarships for girls from minority communities by 10% every year. A recent yearbook by the Institute of Objective Students by the on the status of Muslim school dropouts estimate that dropout rate stand at 23.1% as compared to national average of 18.96%. National dropout rate is 18.96, but the Muslim the dropout rate is 23.1%. It was time to introspect as to why the dropout rate and had not decreased even after 10 years since the introduction of the right to education. The Center for Budget and Governance Accountability in its report pushed for utilization of the 15-point program to devise customized interventions for the development of minorities by identifying development gaps in minority concentrated locality and areas. Affirmative action Okay. The Center for Budget and Governance Accountability in its report pushed for a utilization of the 15-point program to devise customized intervention for the development of minorities, by identifying development gaps in minority concentrated locality and areas. Affirmative action is the need of the hour to improve the socio-economic status of religious minority, particularly Muslims who continue to lag behind the rest of the population in several areas. Okay. Then the next topic is about the Indian named Chandrayaan 3 landing spot as Shiv Shakti point. The Prime Minister of India that has named that the announced that the point where the Chandrayaan 3 landed touched down the lunar surface will be named as the Shiv Shakti point. The point where Chandrayaan 2 left its imprint would be named as the Tiranga point, and Chandrayaan 1 crashed in 2008 is named as the Jawahar point. Okay, Jawahar point, Tiranga point, and the Shiv Shakti point. Modi said this will serve as inspiration for every effort that India makes and remind us that failure is not the end. 23rd August will be celebrated National Space Day declared by Government of India. Okay, because on the same day that National Space Day to mark the soft landing of Chandrayaan 3 at the south pole of the moon, okay, which no other country has been able to touch. Law regarding ownership, naming sites in space. As per the United Nations 96 Outer Space Treaty, no nation can claim sovereignty over the moon or other celestial bodies, and that the exploration of space should be carried out for the benefit of all countries. In 1979, the Moon Agreement stated that no part of the moon shall become property of any state, international, intergovernmental, or non-governmental organization, national organization, or non-governmental entity, or of any natural person. The law clearly states that nation cannot lawfully claim to the moon or its land. However, they can carry out certain activities. However, there is no legislation regarding naming places on the moon. Who decides the names? The International Astronomical Union, the leading authority in assigning official name to lunar features. India is one of the 92 member of the space body. The IAU has been the arbiter of planetary and satellite nomenclature since its inception in 1990. Many countries have been giving informal names to the spots on the moon during lunar missions. The United States gave informal names to lunar sites during the Apollo mission. Most of the informal names assigned during the Apollo mission were later given official status by the International Astronomical Union. In 2021, the International Astronomical Union approved China's application for naming 8 new features on the moon around the landing sites of the Chang'e 5 probe of China. Process for considering the name. The International Astronomical Union, a working group, handled the process of naming lunar spots, though its decisions and recommendations are not enforceable by any international law. Any attempt by India to name physical features near the landing site will require the IAU's nod or permission. Okay. Then the next topic about the dry arc landscape. Okay. the Pope of tigers helped a team of scientists at the Wildlife Institute of India understand the prey selection pattern of the striped feline in the Indian part of the Terai Arc landscape, the Tal. It is a stretch between the river Jamuna in the west and the river Bagmati in the east, comprising the Siblik Hills and adjoining Bhabar area and the Tarai flood plains. It is spread across the Indian states of Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar and low-lying hills of Nepal. It has been shortlisted by the FAO at the World's Restoration Flagship as a part of the ongoing UN Decade for Ecosystem Restoration Campaign 2021 to 2030. Ecosystem restoration campaign. About 22% of the wild tiger population in India is found across this Tal region, living amidst some of the highest human and livestock density of the subcontinent. Landscape also has a high mammalian diversity with herbivores including gaur, nilgai, sambar, northern swamp deer, wild pig, chital, goral, and some primates carnivorous such as the leopard, wild dog, hyena. Apart from tiger and omnivorous including the sloth bear and the Asiatic black bear. Key findings of the recent assessment: the assessment of the food habit of the tiger, Anthera tigris, was published in the latest edition of the Journal of Mammalogy, a peer-reviewed international publication. A team of researchers found protected area and non-protected area in the Tarai region are more prone to livestock predation-related conflict. The phases of the tiger also help the scientists gather information about the hotspot of conflict related to livestock predation across 1,500 square kilometers of the animal's habitat along the foothills of the Himalayas. Large body species, sambar, swamp deer, nilgai, chital, wild pig and livestock comprise about 94% of the diet, with sambal, chital and livestock having the highest relative proportion. So given the significant role of the large carnivores in the maintaining ecological diversity and interaction within their respective biological community, the scientists suggest careful management interventions with community involvement to reduce threat of livestock predation related conflicts. They also suggested long-term conservation plans, including prey abundance estimation outside the PS, reduction of grazing pressure, and detailed records of tiger. Okay, so suggest long-term conservation plans, including prey abundance estimation outside the PE protected areas, reduction of grazing pressure, and detailed records of tiger mortalities with casual investigation to ensure conflict-free tiger persistence across the that particular region, Tal region. Okay. Climate change and the health hub. India to open a climate change and health hub in the national capital in partnership with the ASEAN Development Bank. The hub will facilitate knowledge sharing, promote partnership. Okay, so in partnership with the ASEAN Development Bank. The hub will facilitate knowledge sharing, promote partnership and innovations, and also help countries beyond the G20, especially developing countries. Climate change affects all, and this center will give the opportunity to have different partners discussing this important issue and learning from each other. Need for the hub. India also noted that climate change will continue to drive health emergency, including the emergence and re-emergence of infectious disease, and by increasing the severity and frequency of natural disasters, thereby threatening to overwhelm health systems' ability to deliver essential services. Okay. About Asian Development Bank, which is the co-partner, it was established in 1960 as a financial institution that could be Asian in character and foster economic growth and cooperation in one of the poorest region of the world called Asia in 1966. Although Asia's status has improved right now, ADB assists its members and partners by providing loans, technical assistance, grants, and good investment to promote social and economic development in the region. From 31 members at its establishment in 1966, ADB has grown to encompass 68 members, of which 49 are from Asia and the Pacific and 19 outside. Headquarters is at Manila in Philippines. Okay, so it is Asian located. Okay. Then the zoning of floodlands. Punjab has been reeling under floods for well over a month now, and the proposed solution of this is zoning of floodplains. A river expands significance of floodplains. A river expands and contracts naturally over seasons and in different areas. So during the rainy season, the river expands and in the summer season it contracts. Okay. So a floodplain is an area adjacent to the river which normally get flooded when the river swells. Well-maintained floodplains free from wanton construction and concrete are natural defense against flooding further inland. They are also useful for recharging groundwater level and maintaining the water table. How floodplains are identified? Done based on topographical features. Around rivers. For instance, floodplains often contain oxbow lakes, basically abandoned meandering channels of the river where it once flowed prior to changing its course. Zoning of floodplains. Zoning of floodplains is done to regulate land use. Zoning involves demarcating areas around rivers likely to be affected by floods of different magnitudes and frequencies in order to specify the types of permissible developments there, done so that when the floods do actually occur, the damage is minimal. As per the guideline on floodplain zoning by the National Disaster Management Authority, the following should be okay. So the following should be located so that they are above the level corresponding to 100-year frequency or the maximum observed flood levels. So 100 frequency means where the flood water has touched which level. Then defense installations, industries, public like the hospitals, electricity installations, water supply, telephone exchange, aerodromes, railway stations, commercial centers should be above the 100 years record level. Implications of lack of zoning, encroachment and mismanagement of floodplains leading to non-suitable construction activity and concentration of floodplains. Non-suitable construction play a part in pushing floods further inland, increasing the area harmed and damage caused during the floods. Consent and leads to its taking far longer for floods to subside as water simply does not drain. This kind of flooding is not good for floodplains themselves, affecting the fertility and quality of the soil as well. Okay, so before any construction activity or infrastructure is created, the flood plains, so assessment is to be made, because if that is not proper made, so 100 says assessment is not made, then it will put the system in jeopardy, because flood will, so the area will be flooded and will put the system into a standstill or may damage the infrastructure created in those areas unless the level of the flood water, what it can touch, 100 years record, is not properly evaluated before taking up any program for construction activity in that particular area. Okay, analyze the impact impact of rapid population growth on poverty and development in India. What are the potential solutions to address these challenges? High population growth will have several repercussions like unemployment, poverty, poor standards of living, a large gap between the rich and the poor, lesser resources, greater exploitation of natural resources, have adverse effect on development also. Impact of rapid population on poverty. Increase in the population results in more family expenses. It leads to rise in unemployment, pushing family into vicious cycle of poverty. At one end, high population growth rate is one of the major reasons of poverty in India. High population below poverty line adds to high level of illiteracy, poor health care facility, and poor access to financial resources. Hence, high population growth affects the per capita income and makes per capita income even lower. Whereas on the other side, for poor, one more child means two more hands to work and earn for livelihood of the family. And this particular region makes poverty a strong cause for growing population, because in the poor family more population or more children are equal to more supporting hands to the family, so because they can be utilized in the activities. Lack of money and proper awareness of education about contraceptive method is among major causes of population increase in India due to poverty. Leads to poor lifestyle and high mortality, particularly among children, which keeps the fertility rate high due to uncertainty, then further increasing the population upward. Leads to rise in unemployment, pushing family into vicious cycle of poverty. Increased number of people in agricultural families results in decreased proportion of divided land among the family members, causing lower incomes. Impact of population on development. Water shortage. Already up to 40% of the world's population face water scarcity and the risk of drought. A growing population will put pressure on scarce water supply, and this is a factor behind many minor and major conflicts, countries having to find ways around the shortage of water. This is not addressed soon, the Indian population may become a liability, because population of a country is always asset, provided it is properly groomed or transferred to human resources. If the population is not converted to human resources, so this will remain a liability than being transformed to an asset. And India, having the highest population in the world, it must groom its population to transform to an asset by its proper grooming or transformation of population to human resources. If this is not done, then not be possible to get the benefit of the demographic dividend. As we all are talking right now about the demographic dividend, okay, so we must take remedial measures that how to transform the human resources to the that population human resources, so we can be able to harvest the demographic dividend. So water shortage already up to 40% of the world's population face water scarcity and the risk of drought. A growing population put pressure on the scarce water supply, and this is a factor behind many minor and major conflict with countries having to find ways around the shortage of water. If this is not addressed soon, the Indian population may become a liability for the country. So the immediate requirement population is water. Okay. Generating unsustainable waste. We are currently generating non-biodegradable rubbish that we are struggling to process. It tends to end in landfills, causing methane emission and other toxic problems. Problem of unemployment. Large size population results in large army of labor force, but due to shortage of capital resources, it becomes difficult to provide gainful employment to the entire working population. Disguised unemployment in rural area and open unemployment in urban area are the normal feature of an underdeveloped country like India. Pressure on environment. Population explosion leads to environmental degradation. Higher birth rate brings more population, more toxic waste and damage to biosphere. Briefly speaking, population explosion hinders the economic development of a country if the population is not properly trained. Education. The low income of large family does not afford to provide education to their children. Okay. Pressure on food, clothing and housing. A country with a fast growing population has to face a serious problem of scarcity of necessary food, minimum clothing and proper housing facility, which are basic needs of human life. Thus it affects the lifestyle and results slum areas, starvation, etc. It is estimated that India is currently producing 25 million job seekers but provides job only to 7 million. The gap is of 18 million people who remain jobless. Potential solution to address these challenges. Population can be an asset if the youth of the country have access to education, skill development, increase employment opportunity, etc. However, currently India faces a very high unemployment rate. The current government is bearing the burden of providing the access to clean drinking water, houses, cooking fuel, electricity and healthcare to the whole of Indian population and is aiming to create 5 trillion economy. Also, India landmass is only 30 to 40% of China's landmass. Okay, government need to play pivotal role on and invest in education, health, and creating economic opportunity for young people, which could help us harness demographic dividend. This call for forward-looking policy incorporating population dynamics, education in a skill, healthcare, gender sensitivity, and providing rights and choice to the younger generation. India needs to invest more in children and adolescents, particularly in nutrition and learning during early childhood. India needs to increase female workforce participation in the economy. It is therefore important to understand that in order to have a better future for all on a healthy planet, attainment of the SDG goal is critical. So, India should try to achieve the SDG goal as quickly as possible, and within that period of its target of 2030, 17 goals set by the United Nations General Assembly are the Sustainable Development Goal. Providing adequate education and training to the young population would make them productive, effective and competent, thereby making them key contributors to economic growth. So efforts to combat the vicious cycle of poverty, rising population growth and environmental degradation are said to require multidisciplinary policy in all sectors. This policy need to be carefully established, taking account of the need to achieving sustainable development if the resources that are available for future generation are to be preserved. Then coming to the MCQs. Question number 1, consider the following statement regarding the right to repair in India. The Minister of Consumer Affairs has also set up the right to repair portal. Right, this that allows citizens to go get their gadgets and vehicles repaired without using the warranty. Right, the portal aggregates all the public information related to product, service, warranty, terms and conditions, etc. So here all the three are correct. Consider the following statement regard to the Indian Air Force. Indian Air Force was officially established in October 10th of 1932. Its first flight came to being on 1st April 1933 with draft trainers, officers and 19 Abisipois or air soldiers. Indian Air Force has put its weight behind the indigenous light combat aircraft project. Indian Air Force is expecting to receive the 8 LSC trainer by the end of this financial year. By 2040, Indian Air Force could have 32 or 33 fighter squadrons and could have 35 to 36 fighter squadrons. By 2050, the indigenous fighters meet the induction timeline. A year out of, so 3 are correct. So then 3, and the tigris Panthera tigris is a striped animal, right? Okay. So the combination of grace, agility, and the enormous power has earned this tiger's pride of place in the national animal of India. That is right. Out of 8 race of species known, the Indian race, the Royal Bengal tiger, is found throughout the country. This is not right. On International Tiger Day, the government of India released new data on tiger population at Kobo Tiger Reserve. So 3 are correct. Consider the following statement of the National Commission for the Safai Karmachari. Okay. So the Supreme Court has sought the government's response in a plea to fill 4 vacancy. The National Commission for the Safai Karmachari, the statutory body constituted in 1994 to ensure the right of the sanitation workers. Here, both 1 and 2 are correct. With reference to India's religious minority community, consider the following statement. Is in 6 religious conditions under Section 2C of the National Minority Act 1992. So that is right. Among them, Christian make the largest religious minority. Note the Muslim who make up the largest religious minority. So 2 is incorrect. Justice Rajan Sachar Committee was constituted by the UPA government to look into the socio-economic and educational standing of the Muslim in India. Right. 2 are right. 1 and 3. 2 is incorrect. And with reference to the Naya Savera scheme, the scheme is being from the Ministry of Minority Affairs. That is right. Okay. And laws to provide free coaching to minority students to entrance to technical and professional course and competitive examination. Both 1 and 2 are correct. Which of the following statement best describe the term short selling in security market? The purchase of one asset with the intention of reducing the risk of loss from another asset. Incorrect. It is a regulatory measures that temporarily suspends trading on exchange. Incorrect. So it is a method of executing orders using automated pre-programmed trading instructions accounting for variables such as time, price, and volume. Incorrect. When an investor borrows a security and sells it on the open market, planning to buy it back at later for a loss of money, that is called the short selling. Right. B. Recently, space payload ILSA Rambha and the Chat SCT are in news. These are related to the space mission called Chandrayaan 3 launched by India. Reference to the blowflies, consider the following statement. They are the first insect to dwell and colonize dead body, colonizing a dead body, right? They belong to the family of the Carliforide and order of the Diptera. They are crucial for determining the post-mortem interval or the amount of time that has passed since the person's death. So all the 3 are correct. Reference to the Teriak landscape tell the Terai arc landscape space between the river Jamuna in the west and the river Bagmati in the east. That is right. It comprises the Sibilika hill, the adjoining Babar area, and the Rai Parklands. Right. About 22% of the wild tiger population in India is found across the Tal, living amid some of the highest human and livestock density on the subcontinent. All the 3 are correct. Thank you for watching. Keep watching regularly to update yourself. Thank you.